Due to the coronavirus, I am in quarantine. So in this video I'll be talking about what the quarantine means here in Oslo, Norway, where I live. I will also be going through some developments, what has been happening with the coronavirus situation here in Norway, and what sort of measures that the government has been taking to contain the virus and also to stimulate the economy and so on. The reason why I've been quarantined is because my girlfriend, she works in the financial services. She's a bond broker, and one of her co-workers had recently returned from a holiday in Austria, and he had been infected there. He did not show any symptoms and therefore hadn't been tested. Well, the night before yesterday, he had started to develop symptoms, and it turned out that it was the coronavirus. Because he had been working in the same place as my girlfriend, she was quarantined the morning of yesterday. Because we live together, my girlfriend and I have sort of been de facto quarantined as well. Both of us were not showing any symptoms of disease at all. We're doing fine. We're just working from home, really. I guess one of the biggest problem that will eventually present itself will be boredom, I think. So, what does a quarantine entail here in Norway? It essentially means that we're working from home. We're in our apartment, in our flat. We are not locked in or anything like that. We can go outside to do essential things like go buy food. We can, as long as we don't seek out any people or gathering of people, we have to stay away from everyone essentially. And I've been for a run in the woods close by where I live, and that's fine in the manner I interpret the rules anyway, as long as I stay away from any people and I don't see a lot of people in the middle of the woods. On my run there, I saw 3 people and they were all far away from me, so that's fine. We can do stuff like that, but we cannot go anywhere except for the bare essentials, really, to get food or something like that. And if any of one of us develops symptoms, we have to contact the health authorities, and we will be tested, I think. And we have to stay at home isolated for 2 weeks before we can do anything, really. Right now, Norway has the second highest number of infected people per capita. The only country that has more infected people or registered infected people per capita is Italy. The National Institute of Public Health has registered 895 cases, confirmed cases. And this is out of 10,000 cases or people that have been tested overall. And so they have been testing a lot of people lately, several thousands just in the last few days. And I think that many countries, when they actually start ramping up the testing, will see more cases, as we have done. And out of these 895 people, about somewhere between 300 and 400 of them were people that returned from the Alps from skiing holiday during the winter holiday here in Norway at the end of January, and then didn't have any symptoms and then went to work just as normal, I guess, and then, yeah, that was a stupid thing to do. Yesterday we also saw the first death here in Norway. An elderly person who was in intensive care in some hospital died yesterday. There's 11 people in total in intensive care here in Norway, and 1 person in intensive care has recovered, as far as I know, from the updates this afternoon. So about the measures that the government is taking. So yesterday the Prime Minister, the Director of the National Health Institute, the Minister for Health, and the Director of the Norwegian Health Directorate, a lot of directions and directors there, they held a press conference where they, under the law of infectious diseases, they issued a decree, essentially. They put forth some measures, some things that were going to happen, and these included the closing of all kindergartens, schools, and universities, and all other institutions of education. And because I work at an university, I didn't have any place to work anymore, but I can do stuff from home, so that's all right, really. And they also, and I really want to point out the wording here, they said that from now on it's illegal to arrange any cultural or sports events and also to keep any establishments that are gyms, hairdressers, massage parlor, or any sort of bodily care, tattoo parlors or piercing shops or whatever, to keep those kind of places open. And swimming pools must also be closed, day spas, stuff like that. It's actually illegal to keep them open. Establishments that serve food, they're allowed to remain open, except if they have buffets. That's illegal as well. This is the wording they use. It's illegal. I don't know if anyone will be punished if they actually break these rules, but so far it seems that people have been abiding by them. Cafes, restaurants, bars, pubs, and so on, they are allowed to remain open, but they have to take some precautions that people, if people sit down to eat, they cannot sit closer than a meter or so. And that's about 3 feet maybe, I'm not sure. And grocers and shops, other shops will also stay open. People have been asked to don't panic, there's enough food for everyone, so don't go buy anything. And I was at the shop yesterday and it was already sold out of all food stuff that does not perish quickly, like oats and rice and stuff like that. So toilet paper was also in short supply. Public transportation also runs normally, but people are discouraged from using public transportation. The main reason that public transport is open is for people that have to go to work to serve some sort of critical function. And some kindergartens are also open to sort of, look after the kids of people that have a job that is considered a critical function. I will mention what that entails in a bit. But in summary, everyone is encouraged to stay home for as long, at least until 2 weeks from yesterday. That is the 26th of March. So these rules came into effect at 6 p.m. yesterday, which was the 14th of March. And the critical sectors that I mentioned, they are defense, law and order, health, obviously, the rescue service, financial services, people that work in power supply or at a power plant, in telecom, water and waste management, etc. So stuff like this. This morning, the Norwegian government also came with some economic measures, because what all these other measures, which are very severe and very invasive, actually they are more severe than anything that have been issued by the Norwegian government since Norway was occupied during the Second World War, actually. So this is incredibly serious, really. Essentially, what's going to happen is that the entire economy, or most of it, will shut down. We've already seen this in interest rate markets and in the stock market, and yeah. So this morning, the central bank lowered the interest rate by 0.5 percentage points, and also offered emergency liquidity to the banks, essentially cheap loans, which they jumped at instantly. And the largest bank in Norway has already cut its mortgage rates by about 0.35 percentage points, which is a lot. So it has the desired effect to ease the economy somewhat. Later this afternoon, today, the government tried to implement some fiscal policy measures. These included reducing the portion of what employers had to pay for putting their employees on temporary leave from 15 days to 2 days usually, and to discourage just putting people on temporary leave. An employer has to pay full salary essentially for 15 days, but this is reduced to 2, and from there the government, the state government will take over. At least that's how I understood it. It's also been a lot easier for people to apply for social support or social benefits. Those demands or what the boxes you have to tick to be approved for such a program it has become a lot easier. Also, businesses that will lose money this year can deduct this loss from profits in previous years, and this essentially means that they will get a reduced tax bill. And smaller businesses, they have this Sunday there's a deadline for paying taxes from the previous fiscal year, 2019, I think, and that has been postponed for at least 2 weeks, which is an initial measure, and we'll see how that works out. And there's also some specific measures for airlines. The Norwegian government has waived most of the fees related to airline travel. At the same time, they're discouraging airline travel, so I don't know how much that will do. But many of, especially Norwegian Air, the low-cost Norwegian carrier, is struggling a lot. The Norwegian government is also doing some direct transfers to municipal governments that have been hit hard by the coronavirus crisis. Most of these measures or this bill that they were trying to pass in Parliament, it didn't pass because most of the parties said that it wasn't enough, which is interesting. So we'll see what happens. They probably do something a bit more aggressive, but it seems that most politicians and health officials, they have been very cooperative and they've listened to the experts. They've been honest. I find that communication has been very transparent and understandable. I feel that the officials and the government is doing a good job, essentially. They have been very honest with saying that this is a serious situation, and we understand that people can be scared because of this. We are essentially asking you to stop whatever you're doing. It's difficult. It's strange to be in such a situation, a global pandemic. And it will be interesting. It is perhaps not the correct word, but it will be interesting to see how the situation turns out eventually. Yeah, if you have any questions about life in quarantine or how the situation develops in Norway, please drop a comment down below and I'll try to get to them. I've actually been working on a numerical project in a mini-series of videos here on YouTube to post here on YouTube, and that has obviously been postponed because of this. Sorry about that. A bit of a special situation. Hoping you are well. Take care.